Hey, good morning. See if you can name that song. Eric Clapton opened up the MTV Unplugged album with that one. That's Signe or Signe, however you pronounce it. Anyway, it is August something. It's been hot out. That's why I'm sitting here wearing a chopped off t-shirt. And it's finally cooled off a bit, but it's still kind of warm in my house. My heat pump died and I have no air conditioning. And we lived for years in Maine without that. I don't know how we do it anymore though. Anyway, this is a really cool one. I always seem to say that because I think they're all really cool ones, but I really like this. I've done a lot of harmonies in the last few years, probably 25 or 30 harmony sovereigns. And this is sort of the little brother or the second cousin of the harmony sovereign. This is an H162. And what makes this one kind of interesting in my mind and really cool is that it's an old figure eight style. Back in the 40s, it was a different body shape, much more of the kind of mini jumbo shape to it, but there's nothing jumbo about this. This is kind of between a 00 and a 000 size. And by being the sort of younger brother, second cousin of the sovereign, what I mean is that it is a solid spruce top, and it is solid mahogany back and sides, but it's sort of the no frills version. Not much for rosette. It's only got top binding and not back. It doesn't have a truss rod in it. It does have a really big, comfy V-shaped neck that I just love. The neck is made of poplar instead of mahogany. So it's sort of the blue-collar worker. You know, this is the work truck version of the Sovereign. Kind of rustic-y looking headstock, you know, old school Art Deco 40s painted on. Nothing real fancy about that. But what I did, I got a hold of this from a guy out in Alberta, Canada. He's become a good friend and kind of finder and scout and finds some great stuff and always gives me a first crack at things before he lists them. And this one was in rough shape. And Brent said, I don't know if you want it or not, but I did because I just love the shape of it. So the worst issues that this one really had was this big old nasty crack that runs all the way down the side. And it goes, you know, 2/3 of the way around the base side. And it had been repaired pretty crudely with what looked like Gorilla Glue or epoxy or something. So first thing I did when I got this, I pulled the neck off and I pulled the back off because I wanted to be able to get to this. And then I opened that crack back up and I painstakingly got all of the rubbery, nasty epoxy glue out. There's a section here, even there's this little triangular kind of chip, and this thing was glued to where it was still kind of sticking up, almost the thickness of the wood. So this is all smooth now. It's been re-glued with tight bond, and it's cleated on the inside with pieces from the bracing that I replaced. So it's got, you know, original body parts that have been used as organ donors to cleat this all around on the inside there. It's also got cloth reinforcement strips all around both insides now, which is what I do on all my conversions. So while the back was off, this thing had 5 braces, 2 of which were loose. Well, 5 braces on a back is kind of one too many in my mind, so I left 2 originals. I took 2 that were loose and the third one, and I replaced it with 2 more here. So it now has 4 back braces. While the back was off, I did my usual Resto-mod X-brace conversion. So all of the bracing came off of the top, including the big giant kind of popsicle stick bridge plate. I then made sure that everything was uniform thickness all the way around, because sometimes these things vary. They'd be thicker in the middle than they are on the edges or vice versa. This is now like 0.105 inches thick all the way around. And it has been rebraced with Canadian spruce in an X-brace pattern, very similar to a Martin or Gibson, you know, 00, 000 pattern. 2 tone bars down in the belly, finger braces on the sides, and a brand new transverse brace here. I did replace that one because I needed one with a hole through it for the truss rod that I put in the neck. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's got a brand new Indian rosewood pin bridge that I carved for it, and this is sitting on top of a 1/10 inch thick main maple bridge plate that's between the X braces, so just about the same size and footprint as the bridge itself. So while the neck was off, frets were tiny and really worn, and the fretboard was a little bit concave itself just from being dried out. So I took all the frets off, I re-radiused the fretboard so it's got a nice 12 to 16 kind of compound radius, and refretted it with StewMac gold medium higher frets. They're not quite a jumbo, but they're pretty close to jumbo size. While the fretboard was off, I routed out a groove in the neck, and it now has a 2-way adjustable truss rod that is accessed through the sound hole, through that hole in that transverse brace, with a 4mm Allen wrench. Further on up the neck, it does have the original tuners. They are really smooth and they're in great shape. A lot of these old, 40s, 50s Sovereign tuners just get really stiff, but these really work nice. I did replace them with some nice aged relic copper ferrules here in the headstock itself, so that always helps them move a little smoother. Original nut does have a brand new saddle, which is bone, and I believe the nut was actually bone too, because I had to actually cut one of the notches a little thin and it smelled like burning bone dust. So it went all back together. Oh, one more repair. We had a little chip and crack right here. Looks like it had had a botched attempt at a neck removal before. Very often when that happens, the neck block itself gets broken. This one was not. Neck block was fine. So I just grafted in a new piece of mahogany there. And then put it all back together. And she just plays. What a great feeling guitar. Got a lot of saddle left if you ever need to adjust action, but the action is a very comfortable, .080 on the low E, so like 5/64ths and about 4/64ths on the high E. Like I said, a lot of saddle left if that needs to come down. The relief is exactly .007 at the 7th fret, so that's really nice. And just the mojo of this thing is unreal. I mean, look at the pick wear around the original pick guard, things like this. It looks like crow's feet on some aging, 1930s black and white era, silent movie Hollywood actress or something. I didn't do much with the finish. As usual, I gave it a little bit of wipe with some True Oil here and there, but not a lot. And mostly it's just that just kind of seals everything up. It sealed up this crack, so this is all nice and smooth now. Anyway, great sounding guitar. It's inch 1.72 on the nut, 2 1/8 at the bridge. So very comfortable playing finger style. Really dives in nicely with a pick as well. It's got a lot of volume now, a lot of sustain with that X bracing. 1948 Harmony H162, completely restored, X-brace conversion, new frets, new bridge, new saddle, new truss rod, dripping with mojo. Just a great way to either jump into the vintage guitar collecting world, or if you're a gas-afflicted guy like me, guitar acquisition syndrome takes over my lifestyle. It's just another cool addition. So thanks a lot for watching. See ya.